Adam stood in the field. A noise had drawn the child towards the forest. He was sure he had heard people talking, but hadn't found them. By a clearing, he stopped at what he saw. A horse ran through the trees, quickly and elegantly, but there was something off about it. There were far too many legs on it. He watched the strange beast in silence. So enraptured was he that he didn't notice the old man in pale blue garb behind him. Welcome to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Today, we look at the Mount of Odin, the powerful Sleipnir. Let's see what we can learn about this mythical horse. When it comes to Norse mythology, you can usually put the blame on Loki, god of mischief. Have a goddess sold off to a giant? Blame Loki. Someone dies? Blame Loki. A new giant monster of death and destruction is born? Blame Loki. Among his many actions, there are his children, Fenrir, Jormungandr, Hel, and Sleipnir. Sleipnir is the eight-legged horse which Odin rides. The name can be translated as slipper or slippery. Sleipnir is a stallion belonging to a Jotun, a giant who helped build the walls of Asgard. He had disguised himself to prevent the gods from learning that he was a giant. This Jotun made a bet with the Norse gods. If he could build the wall before the end of winter, he was to be given the sun, the moon, and Freya. He worked hard with his giant horse and made quick progress and was going to win the bet. So the gods conspired to interrupt his work. Now, of course, it was Loki who arranged the bet in the first place, so he was charged with preventing the giant from finishing the wall. Loki, being a trickster, took the form of a mare in heat and approached Sleipnir. The horse instantly fell in love with Loki's illusionary form, and overcome with lust, the two ran off into the night. Discovering that he was going to fail his bet, the giant went on a rampage, yelling and demanding Freya then. In the end, Thor was forced to kill him after the giant exposed himself. Only afterwards did Loki discover that he was pregnant and would later give birth to Sleipnir. He was said to be the greatest of all horses, faster than all others, stronger than all others. Anything a normal horse could do, Sleipnir could do it better. In addition, he could jump over the fortifications of Asgard, even swim the deepest oceans, or fly through the sky. With a strike of his hooves, he can create canyons. He is said to be gray like storm clouds, and an incredible size like his father. But his legs are different. Depending on the tale, he has 8 legs all sprouting from his torso, but in others, the extra legs branch off from his knees. Later on, he would have a son named Grani, who was his closest rival, but lacked the extra legs. That makes for an interesting story, but what is up with the extra legs? Well, Loki is the son of a giant and a goddess. Now, what is more notable is that he was well known for how good he was as a shapeshifter. The exact details of what happened between Loki and Sleipnir isn't fully listed. It is stated that the form Loki chose was said to be in heat, but the events may not have been consensual, and perhaps Loki was attempting to retake his true form during it, if not definitely afterwards. The fertilization of eggs can occur hours or days after intercourse, so we can assume that Loki was in his true form afterwards. That could explain the extra legs. Now, a horse born with extra legs is odd, but does have an explanation. First up, polymelia, a birth defect which results in extra limbs. There are a few causes. Disruptions to the genes being common, but another option is a variation of conjoined twins, where only a single head forms. This seems to be the most likely cause of Sleipnir's form. But how would all those legs work? First up all connected to the torso. That means doubling all the muscles in the chest and back. That'll make this horse much larger right there, due to the crowding of all the muscles. They will be thinner rather than wide. To keep the strength, we'll need to make them thicker. More like a bulging bodybuilder. That alone won't give it its legendary strength. It'll need more. As for the connections of the legs, it means an extra set of shoulder blades for the front legs. But the back is more complicated. We can't just add an extra pelvis. No, we need to reshape and enlarge it to fit the extra legs. Now, with the extra legs, we also need to rewire the nerves. Thus the myotomes and dermatomes. Myotomes are which muscles are innervated by which nerves, and dermatomes are which nerves receive feedback from the skin. These will match up with the vertebrae. Now we can either decrease coordination and sensation by spreading the nerves out, or we can duplicate the nerves. Due to how embryological development works, that would mean adding even more vertebrae to the spinal cord. This would elongate Sleipnir's form a bit. The additional vertebrae and nerves will also require some reworking of the motor and sensory cortexes, but not that much. But what about when the knee splits? The big problem is how the ulna connects. It has a sharp corner. That would make putting one leg before the other difficult, as they would block each other's movements and inhibit running. But if we can widen or duplicate the trochlea of the humerus to permit the double ulnas to sit side by side, it could work potentially. It might inhibit some movement of the radius. But a horse doesn't turn its forelimb like humans do to grab things. It'll mean we'll need to double all the leg muscles again too. We need to do all of this again on the rear legs with the tibia and fibula. There will be issues with muscles like the bicep brachii, which crosses both the shoulder and the elbow. But there are muscles which do have multiple heads and points of attachments, so it should be able to work with a little finagling. So how did Loki do this? Well, we can assume that his shapeshifting spell is so complete and perfect that it fully alters his genetic makeup. Now let's assume that Sleipnir is a species for a moment. Where would it fit on the phylogenetic tree? Well, an offshoot of horses, of course, but branching off for Pegasus and centaurs. Why? Well, the additional legs would work as a gateway to produce other variations of limbs, like wings in human torsos. Now Sleipnir has 8 limbs, not 6. So a 6-limbed version would be a better option, where the different mythical horses branch off from. So, how does it fly? And the answer is, it shouldn't. There is nothing giving it lift except strength. Thus, we are forced to assume magic. Neither can we warrant a real guess on how tall the walls it jumps are, only that it must be high. Nor can we estimate how deep the canyon it can make with its stomps. Sorry, the stories just don't give exact measurements here. A normal horse can swim fine though. That is something. Sleipnir carried Odin into his final battle against Fenrir, before being slain together. How would you stop him? He has high mobility, incredible strength and speed, but is still a horse. While a horse can bite you, it isn't the worst thing. Oh, it'll hurt, and you might bleed, but unless it is your throat, you'll live. It is the hooves you'll need to fear. Sleipnir is a big horse. That means heavy. Plate armor will offer the best protection against getting kicked, and I'd take it. A shield wouldn't hurt, but your arm would take the brunt of the attack. Most ancient artwork does depict Sleipnir in some armor. That can get in your way. To get past that, I'd go with a halberd-like weapon. That'll give you the penetrating power you need. And since Sleipnir is said to be a large horse, that will give you the reach. If using a sword, you'll want to aim for the tendons in the legs. But with 8 legs, that may lose much of its use. Spiders also have 8 legs, and can lose up to 3 legs on one side. So to bring Sleipnir down, you'll need to do the same. It won't be easy. Best option is to use a bow and arrow. You'll need a high poundage bow to bring it down, but it is an option. With magic, things aren't so clear. Ice magic might work. If you can make the ground slick enough, you could trip, and due to his size, fall can be damaging. Depending on if shooed, lightning magic could be devastating. Fire can be just as effective here. Fenrir was known for spreading flames. It is possible that Sleipnir could struggle with fire. Sleipnir is mobile and will attempt to fly. This will limit combat against it unless you have some long-range attacks of your own. Mounted combat is going to be difficult. First off, Sleipnir is the greatest of all horses. That means no horses in battle. You'll need to find a different creature. Now, I'm not sure if a Pegasus would count as a horse. So Sleipnir may be tougher and faster than that. Something like a dragon may be best. What would you choose to face Sleipnir as a mount? Yet we need to take another factor in. Sleipnir is a mount. That means a rider. Who is that? Often it is Odin, but sometimes others. This could alter how you need to fight. Overall, Sleipnir is going to be a difficult foe to battle. He is vastly stronger than a human with speed and mobility. The sheer force you are attempting to overcome isn't going to be easy, and why I'm giving Sleipnir a 5 out of 10 for difficulty. You'll need to be ready for a lot of issues. With Loki's other children, Odin banished and imprisoned them. But why not Sleipnir? Well, Loki's other children were born from a Jotun, while Sleipnir was just sired by a giant horse. A bit of a difference. Sleipnir was useful. His father was so strong that he could haul massive boulders about, and do so fast enough to build a wall around Asgard in a single season. And Sleipnir is said to be even stronger. He could easily achieve incredible feats. Building walls, bridges, and fortresses isn't the whole thing, but also moving supplies for a military campaign. With his incredible mobility, he has carried folk into all 9 realms with ease. He has aided many adventurers in their quests, and carried Odin forth on many trips. Sleipnir doesn't share many traits with his siblings and Loki. He is loyal and hardworking. I guess he is the black sheep of the Loki family. The old man laughed at the child, admiring his horse. Adam jumped forward in fright. The old man whistled and called his horse to his side. He offered the boy a ride home, but Adam was cautious and declined, for fleeing back through the woods to his home. Oh, he'd get scolded for scuttling off, but nothing more. Standing back, the old man kept his watchful eye on the child to be sure that he was safe. Sleipnir is a powerful being, strength and mobility combined in a loyal steed. Odin was wise to bring him in as an ally. Thank you for watching, adventurers. Please return next time for Baku, the Dream Eater. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.